Hey everybody, it's Vitaly from Codlibri, and in today's video we are going to talk about common situation for agencies is building websites without actual mobile designs in Figma. So most of us, at least once in a life, or I would say it's a common situation, trying to give feedback on a website which doesn't have Figma designs for mobiles, and all of your like hours are spent on minor tweaks that are like center these spacing, please make smaller, please make bigger, align these, image ratio is different, this doesn't work, and so on and so on. In order to fix this kind of situation, I came up with a guide that we are using inside of a team of Codlibri to make sure that the client projects without Figma designs for mobile are still looking good for tablet and mobile. And in order to make things 100% clear, let's define what does it mean looks good. For me, looks good is when developer hands over his work and it's actually the thing I'm expecting. So we are going to go through 12 points like general guidelines, breakpoints, font sizes, typography, some common sections, header, footer, and all that stuff. I've created an amazing document for you that you can grab. I don't know, probably if you write a comment and write me on LinkedIn, I'll send this over to you. So issues are simple. Every developer knows how to do things, whatever he's used to, but you're an agency and you're used to one style. Even if you're working with different teams, different freelancers, different agencies, doesn't matter. You still need to configure a file that you're going to share with them in order to get predictable results in terms of deliverables. Because there is very simple rule how to make website responsive, even if there is no Figma designs for mobile and tablet. Nothing should be too big or too small. Nothing should be broken. Elements should not be glued one to another, or elements should not overlap each other. That's basically it. Four simple rules. As far as developers are following them, you're like safe. But in order to get better results, let's follow the guide. So, first of all, we are always talking about three types of screens, and these are like basic breakpoints. So, desktop, tablet, and mobile. Of course, ideally is to avoid using breakpoints at all costs and make the web completely fluid. But there are certain, I'd say, recommendations when you can say that, okay, let's wrap these because, I don't know, you get used to it, or it will make sure that average developer will make things good enough for you to show client. And so I defined 360 to 768 as a mobile design, 769 till approximately 1240 is a tablet design, and everything bigger is desktop design. So how I define desktop design is clear. Mobile design is clear. Desktop is something in the middle, and when we'll go through the file, you'll understand my vision of that. I didn't specify anything for font sizes and typography because it's a very easy element to make completely fluid. So I hope your developers are using rules like clamp, or maybe they can use something better. The only thing I specified that body font should be at least 16 pixels for mobile. It's important for my clients. You can define it as 15 or 14, but I feel 16 is great. Then containers. So when we talk about containers, I'm a fan of making them like in a percentage width, but on your desktop, the container is a approximately in a range of probably 1100 pixels and maybe 1300 pixels. So on tablets, it will be 100% of your screen, plus some padding on the left and the right. And padding for tablets in our designs is bigger than for mobiles. So if for mobiles we are using 20 pixel padding on left and right, on a tablet we are using 40 pixels. Then vertical spacing between section. If at some point, Mark, you'll be watching this video, your file really inspired me to create this thing. So uh, what happened? One of our clients said, Vitali, I really have a guideline for the devs, and like for him, it should be 120 pixels. So perfect comprehension of spacing between sections for the client was 120 pixels. As we've been using approach that sometimes we use RAMs, and basically, if we are referring to one RAM as 16 pixels, it means that we'll adjust it to be 64 pixels for tablet and 48 pixels for mobile. And at the end, we are getting 128 pixels spacing between two vertical sections for tablet and 96 pixels for mobile. Next, burger menu rules. It's it's a common section for each website. Like you cannot usually build a website without a burger menu, but there are so many questions you should answer, and the main is how to behave. So first, obviously, like add a burger when desktop navigation can't fill in one line. Then you can also make sure that like paddings and font size of top navigation menu decreases so that this breakpoint is as far as possible to make sure that all menu items are visible for as many screens as possible. Then on tablets, it's a huge like section. So I don't know, for example, 1200 pixels wide, and your designer may say, okay, I like things to be like sliding from a side to be like 400 pixels wide, and that's it. Or it can say, let's make it full width. It really depends up on your needs. Specify what you like, and just make sure that developers are following your thoughts, because the easiest thing is to get unpredictable thing, be almost happy with the result, and just drawn into a lot of revisions. For mobile, it's easier. You just specify, for example, if we have this kind of call to action buttons on mobile, I prefer them to be fixed. So whenever user opens screen, uh, this button is always visible. I don't want to scroll down to see the button because it should be above the fold. Then we are moving to this section with some layouts. A very common one, like I basically specified them into 2, 3, 4, and 5 column layout with some rules for each of them. You can check into the document below, create this for your developers. So basically, most common things I see is for this kind of layout, what should you do with this third element? Should it be on the left or should it be centered? Then same for, okay, for elements is quite obvious, but four elements are usually collapsed into two columns. And question is, should you make your like single element 50% width, or you should like limit to certain widths, for example, as it was on a desktop. So our designer said, let's make it 50% of width. It will be easier for everybody. And then on mobile, it just folds one below another. Same for 5 element layout. You can see it was 5 elements, 5 columns. Then it drops to 3 without centering, and then it drops to 1. Also common situation, I would maybe say that even it's not the best example, but what happens in a sections like this, we have title area or area with like labels, some content and a button. Somebody wants this to be left aligned, somebody wants this to be centered, somebody wants to this be left aligned with a full width button or centered with a full width button. Define the rules which works best for you and make sure that devs are following it along. What's next? Tabs and categories navigation. This kind of stuff on small screens, it doesn't fit full screen. We made it as a slider. You may use drop downs or stack it like one below another, but it will be a huge list. Decide whatever you want, share with dev, and enjoy. Footer, same thing here. Like in our case, we do centering of the elements starting from a tablet. So yeah, footer is quite big, but that's all we can do. Yeah, and coming to a bonus tip. And so I really enjoy working with, like, it's not a problem. It's not a big deal to work with the Figma designs without mobile designs, just desktop results. But there is a quick fix for agencies how to make results even better. And this fix is actually invest into some designs, but not for whole pages. All you need is just these 5 points. So it's header navigation, footer, it's section with 2 columns, section with 3, 4, or 5 columns, whatever exists, and anything more complicated like tabs, filters, or some, I would say, uncommon sections or more complicated than average, this would be covered by designer in like 1 day approximately, and it will definitely save you a lot of hours just because designer is not spending time for whole design. Developer does things right from the first attempt, and you just hand over the project in a really fast pace for your client, and you can squeeze more project during 1 year. That's it for me. The document will be available probably in the description below. Follow me on LinkedIn, and it was Vitaly from Codlibri. Bye bye.